Hey, Kitty. Hi and welcome. Well, it looks like I have an abandoned child for the next 2 days. I'm going to leave a little bit early, but yeah. You can get by, Missy. My poor little kitty cat's going to be all alone today. Yeah, so my dad's gone up to the moose camp. Let's see what kind of day it is. If it stayed this temperature all day, I'd be happy. I'm missing a chainsaw, but looks like my dad found another chainsaw. I'm going to see if I can take the chain off this one. That last stump I did really did in the chain on my only fully functioning chainsaw. So it's like I got to see if I can get the other chain to either work or my other chainsaw files, which I know are too big. One chain size up, and I gotta try to file it. I mean, that chain was done anyway, so like it's either I'm gonna be victorious today or it's gonna be a short day. We're gonna find out. That's the thing with the stuff, like with the small chainsaws. I don't charge people for chains and stuff like that. I should, but I don't. Especially my regulars, because I make enough money off of that. If I have to buy a chain once, twice a year, no problem. But like I can usually get a lot out of a chain. That's, you know, like that chain on that saw is probably from the 1990s. We'll put it to you that way. I know I've used that saw more than anybody else. And I also know that that it's never been sharpened, you know, until I started using it, right? And it needed like 100 sharpenings before it would cut. And at its peak, it actually cut pretty good. But that stump, you've probably already seen the stump. It was sitting in the passenger seat the other day, and I'm going to tell you all about it in another video, maybe on the weekend or something like that, if I'm not too burnt out. And long story short is the chain link fence basically grew into the tree. So cutting through that, guess what happened to the chain? And then to try to take out the Manitoba maple stump, like that's like trying to cut through steel. And I burnt my chain a little bit, so it's like, yeah. And it's not like I can just get a chain easily. Like, I live in the middle of nowhere, guys, so when something breaks, it's like it's a day's venture to go get it, you know, if you have the money to go get it. So you got to spend all that gas money to go get, you know, an item. So you don't just go get one item, you know what I mean? So, but I got to get that stump out of there in order to continue with the fence. Is what it is. And exist, and you can't